Hello there, football fans. Welcome to the Mercurial Trequartistas Gamecast, your weekly dose of Premier League passion, predictions, and proper football talk. By way of introduction, I'm Tatan, and joining me is my co-host, the man who gives you foresight, not just hindsight. Mark, how are we feeling?
But you're full of foresight, five sight, six sight, all the sights going on. And hindsight's a good one.
Hindsight. Excellent. So, what's on the menu today? The season is over, so there's no Premier League fixtures to talk about, but there's been so much that's gone on in the last week since the season ended on Sunday. We will talk you all through the major points that have arisen. There's no fantasy football, so straight to obscure facts after talking about the Premier League. So let's dive straight into it. Let's focus initially on Arsenal. Arsenal play in the Champions League final against Paris. I would say, perhaps rightly, they are the slight underdogs here. Paris are very, very strong, but the Arsenal fans will, of course, be hoping that they win. They lost the final against Barca 20 years ago, I think in 2006, which was very cruel. I can remember watching that game. But Mark, how do you think it's going to go?
Well, hopefully, lots of goals, lots of drama, lots of stress. Uh, yeah, you want a proper final to close out the season, and yeah, hopefully both teams can bring the best to the pitch, really go at it, and give us a spectacle.
Hmm, I
As
think
for
so.
who's going to win it, I don't know. I mean, PSG just, but well,
What do you think about
we'll have to
penalties?
keep an eye. Penalties. I love penalties, and I'm sure every single player on that pitch would hope it goes to penalties as well.
But the fans don't. It's just nerve-wracking. They are so bad. Well, I mean, like penalties are so bad for your nerves. But we will, of course, come back to the story next week once we know the result. Last week, we weren't able to say congratulations to Villa because we shot our episode prior to the final. So many, many congratulations to Villa. They are a true historic giant of the game. Emery has cemented his legacy, and the players that have won the trophy last week, they will go down in Villa folklore. And also Palace this week, they won a European trophy as well. I think it's the Conference League Cup, I think it's called. So this will mean everything to their fans, who are a ferociously loyal bunch. It's an amazing night for Palace, but many Palace fans are sad that Glasner is off, and likely Jean-Philippe Mateta as well. I believe he was due to leave in January, but the club blocked that move. So well done to both Villa and Palace. But very, very quickly, Ollie Glasner, where do you think he might end up?
Well, he certainly did a great job at Palace. Really brought in the silverware, and yeah, I think looking back at his time there, it is amazing success. He's done a fantastic job. Where he goes next, um, I mean, he's probably got the pick of whatever job he wants, really. The odds seem to be moving a bit for the Celtic job though, so maybe there's a little something cooking in Scotland for him. But yeah, brilliant for Palace, and it's a shame it kind of ended the way it did between him and the board. But
Yeah,
yeah, I think once you had a bit of a blowout like that, then there's not really much going back, unfortunately. The final itself, it was kind of like your old school cup final, wasn't it? Very tense, chances at a premium, who's going to blink first kind of thing, which was in complete contrast to the Villa game. The Villa game was yeah, really nice attacking stuff all the way through, and they did a great job in their final. Emery really has sort of he's got a brilliant status as far as sort of like European silverware goes. And I know a lot of people are talking about Arteta as manager of the season, but Emery getting Villa into the Champions League through the top four and winning a European trophy, he's surely got to be in the conversation as well. But yeah, really good tournament for Villa. The other favourites, Roma, they kind of got knocked out early.
yeah.
So, yeah, it kind of opened up the draw a little bit. But at the end of the day, Villa have done the business. They've got through round by round and deservedly won the trophy. So yeah, brilliant, brilliant stuff for him.
Absolutely. Well done to both teams. If we move on to the other big story of Saturday, the 30th of May, Arne Slot has been fired as the manager of Liverpool. What do you think's gone on there? Thoughts?
It's all gone off there, hasn't it? There's been so much going on through the season. It looks like the owners basically did the whole we're backing our guy till the end of the season. We'll look at it then. I mean, a lot of clubs would have acted early. They would have done the firing. They might have got somebody into him or whatever, but not Liverpool. They stuck by the manager through the end of the season. Unfortunately, performances and results didn't really pick up. There were a couple of patches where it looked like they might have steadied the ship, but it was largely the number of defeats was not great for Liverpool, and it was the number of defeats where they were well beaten. There were too many games where it's like 2, 3 goals, not even in it, not even looking like they're in it, and something just looked off. And you have all the players basically going, "We're leaving, we're going," and all this and that. Big names don't want to leave if things are okay. So they got to the end of the season. They've obviously done the end of season review and gone, we don't think it's going to get any better. And made the decision. They've made the call. It did look a bit weird at the end of the season as well. Everybody was having the lap of honor and they were saying bye bye to Salah and Robertson and families were on the pitch and Slot kind of snuck off to the side. He didn't want to be involved. Whether that was to not tempt fate, or whether he thought that there might be a bit of a fan reaction, I don't know. But I think at the end of the season, even as bad as it's been, I think the fans would have been quite happy to sort of, clap the team and the manager together. It didn't look right. It did look a bit off. And yeah, what what a way to sort of close the season out.
Well, I mean, I agree. I mean, I think the Anfield crowd, by and large, is still extremely gracious, and they would have given him a decent reception had he been with the players on the pitch on Sunday. But there's kind of like two sides to the argument. And I can see both because the results have not gone well. I've been very, very, very critical of Liverpool and the way their standards have dipped over the last 4 or 5 months. I've said this to you off camera and on camera as well the last few weeks. Um, but Slot, I still think he's not a bad coach. Prior to sort of coming to Liverpool, his win rate was very, very high, and I believe that he'd never lost more than 2 games in a row prior to this season. That to me is the sign of a very, very decent coach, and he might sort of take a bit of time off. He might go to a league that's slightly less competitive. I'm pretty certain there will be another elite club across the continent that call upon his services in the near future. He's not a bad manager. On the flip side of things, it's not worked out at all this season. I know the passing of Jota was very, very sad and it affected the team. And despite having spent so much money last summer, there were still glaring gaps in that squad, which, we are not experts of football. We are merely fans, but, we could sense this. And if they had been able to perhaps pick up Gahey and Semenyo in January or in August, in the case of Gahey, the season might well have gone very, very, very differently. But that didn't happen. And as is the case in life, you deal the hand that you're played. Slot had to make do with the squad that he had, even though it was slightly unbalanced and it perhaps lacked the qualities of Liverpool teams. Well, I mean, in terms of the players that's been brought in, of course they are new to English football, but they didn't sort of display the qualities of Liverpool teams of old. So it hasn't worked out, and the board, as you say, perhaps after the end of season review, they have just thought it's not going to work out. Iraola is a decent coach, but to my mind, the levels of expectation at Liverpool are vastly different to those at Bournemouth. Perhaps what Liverpool need is a more established coach, someone who has a track record of actually winning leagues. The trouble is, there's not that many coaches like that. And I messaged this to you just about half an hour ago. The other thing to say is that I think Liverpool have been owned by FSG for about 15 or so years. Bear in mind, in that time, they've only ever got one appointment right. That's a pretty sobering thought. And I know that individual, he was there for over 9 years. But that puts things into perspective for me. They don't have a great track record at appointing coaches that work. So,
Well, there was certainly a disconnect, wasn't there, between sort of the manager and the players, and it seemed to be getting bigger as the season was going on. The players seemed either unable or unwilling to put what Slot wanted into practice on the pitch. It just seemed a bit off. It was, you're breaking forward quickly and then all of a sudden coming back in and passing backwards or passing to the side. And that whole incisive break with pace thing, it kind of just disappeared overnight. And players coming out and saying things post match, Slot was looking under more and more pressure as the season was going on. It didn't look right at all. And yeah, they've managed to get the Champions League qualification. It kind of fell over the line more than winning it outright. And a lot of that wasn't so much down to Liverpool's end of season form. It was more to do with other teams kind of slipping up. I mean, if imagine if Bournemouth had got a win against City last but one game, they might not have made it. It
mm,
was that close. Uh, it was very, very strange end to the season. And if the players weren't slot out during the season, they were doing a really bad job of slot in basically. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens now with the players that were looking to leave and whether they stay.
how about Salah and Andy Robertson, who they were given such an emotional farewell on Sunday? I was going to touch on this later, but it's worth bringing it up now.
Well,
Could they
I think
stay?
Robertson's pretty much done with Spurs. That looks like it's going through. So, but is Salah's status up for grabs? Could there be a dramatic U-turn here? Yeah, you never know. And if there is, then that pretty much does confirm it was the coach that there was an
Mm,
issue with.
yeah.
So yeah, it's going to be a very very eventful summer for Liverpool, and looking forward to see how it all plays out.
Mm. I read a rumor. It was just a rumor. I mean, it's never been verified, but I've heard that Mrs. Salah, she's a scientist or she holds some kind of extremely high-powered job, and she's always been keen to stay in England because she's able to work and sort of lead a very, very normal life here, and there's no sort of focus on her that there might be if they lived in like other places. So if the issue has been with Slot, it could well be the case that Liverpool gets one more year of Salah, who correctly utilised. I know he's a bit older, but he may still well be a force. But let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. But
Oh.
interesting times, and
It would be a massive twist in the tail, wouldn't it?
it would. But I do think that Liverpool need, someone who's like been there and done it. So a Nagelsmann or an Enrique, if he's willing to come. Perhaps if he wins the Champions League tonight, he might think to himself, you know what, I've had my fill at Paris. There's really not much more I can do. But Nagelsmann, he will need a bit of a rest, I suspect, after the World Cup. And also, if Nagelsmann is the man, and Germany go deep into the World Cup, he may not be in situ at Anfield for the start of pre-season, because the World Cup runs much longer this year. It's the biggest World Cup ever. So let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. But can we also touch very quickly a completely different story, but the emotion of I've just mentioned Andy Robertson and Mo Salah was it was just huge out there leaving. I can't say leaving do, but the sort of unofficial ceremony which like took place at Anfield, but equally so, if not more so, over at the Etihad. Pep, amazing career, and Pep's speech was very, very emotional. It's sad to see such a great manager leave the English game. Do you think after a long rest or after a few years he may come back to England, and who might he manage?
I don't think so. I think this is it for Pep in the Premier League. I just don't see him doing another club outside of Manchester City. I think for comedy value, it would be absolutely hilarious if he took the Anfield job right now. That would be, it would be
I can't see that
a
happening. I mean,
bizarre move, but
he's an honourable guy. I mean, he's not going to do that.
it's
It
not
would
going to
just
happen.
be,
But yeah, for comedy value, oh yeah, that would be funny. But yeah, I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think he's going to be back in the Premier League. I think
yeah.
that's Premier League achievement unlocked. Where's the next one? So yeah, but yeah, weird
Well,
to think he's been there so long.
yeah,
It's been a remarkable career, a lot of trophies, and it did all get quite emotional, didn't it, at the
yeah.
Etihad? I think Pep was starting to go during the match, with different substitutions at certain points of the match.
Yeah.
So yeah, another big club with a managerial change. It's going to look a very, very
Mm,
bizarre Premier League next year. New bosses at Liverpool, Manchester City, and Chelsea.
mm.
Kind of the same with Man United as well. I mean, Carrick is officially the manager rather than the interim, so that's a little different. So
Yes.
yeah, very very freshened up roster going on there.
Yeah. I think it's a time of change. Likely both at City and Liverpool, the coaches that will come in, they may not have that much experience of winning truly large trophies. And to that end, Chelsea may be the team that benefits. Xabi Alonso, who was heavily linked with the Liverpool job for obvious reasons, he's a former son of Anfield. But they didn't go for him at this time. I suspect if they wanted him, they could have got him, but they didn't. But yes, but at Liverpool and City, there may be coaches that don't have that much experience of winning trophies, and it may be a lean couple of years for both teams. Let's see what happens. But Mark, after that, if we move on to two other stories, so Jose, he's leaving Benfica and he is going to Real. Quick thoughts on that, if this time?
Very tasty.
It's his second stint at the club, and he was successful there last time.
Oh, it's gonna be. I mean, it's brilliant for the Spanish league. It's gonna be so entertaining. I think Mourinho is an incredibly entertaining manager for right and wrong reasons. But yeah, he's that's it. That league is going to be absolutely lit up by all this. None of this nicey stuff. Or the other team this, the other team that. It's going to be stuff like the better team lost. So yeah, looking forward to it. So I'm sure he's got a few scores to settle, and yeah, it looks a bit like unfinished business there.
Well,
Can't wait.
well, his big rival at the time was Pep at Barca. Pep will probably not be in the Spanish league next season at least. But as is the case with Jose, I suspect new rivalries will be wrought very, very quickly. That's an
Is
absolute
that the other
certainty.
plot twist that's loading?
The other thing, also in Spain, Anthony Gordon. He left Newcastle a few days ago. He signed for Barca. He's been linked with Bayern for many, many weeks now. Sorry, for like quite a few months now. I should say it's been. It was almost a given that he was joining Harry Kane and co. There, but it's kind of like a bolt from the blue. So he's moved to Bayern. He seemed very happy. He spoke very, very fluent Spanish at his press conference, which was impressive. Which makes you also think that perhaps he's been learning it for a while and the move has been in the works for a while. How do you think he'll do? But also for Newcastle, these signings they got in to replace Isak last season haven't really worked that well. Walter Maida started pretty well, but he kind of tailed off towards the end of the season. Wissa's been a bit hot and cold, even though he's an extremely good player and he's proven in the Premier League. They've lost Gordon. How do you think this is going to be for Newcastle, and how do you think he'll do at Barca?
Well, I think, I mean, Gordon was very impressive in the Champions League matches, and I think that probably helps get a lot of attention from Barca and Bayern. Um, it could be it could be tough at first, I think, for him, but I think he's the kind of guy that will sort of, once he's sort of settled down, will fit in really nicely in the Barca team. Not entirely sure what this would mean for Marcus Rashford, but yeah, the purchase itself, it kind of looked like a bit of a late hijack, didn't it? Uh, Newcastle could be a bit dicey. They're looking like that all of a sudden they're basically in the realms of complete rebuild.
Mm.
I mean, they might even lose Tonali yet. Tonali's rumored to be homesick and looking back
Yes.
to Italy. And, Guimaraes is always getting looked at and linked because he's their main midfield linchpin.
Mm.
It's it's strange to sort of see the difference to Newcastle sort of right now to maybe a year or so ago when they won the League Cup. It looked like they had foundations there to build on and everything. But this is another year where they've kind of, they're in the Champions League, but they missed out the following year. Are they falling foul of things like PSR, financial fair play? Is it really that difficult to balance the books that they're having to sell on such a high frequency that it's just not allowing them to build a team, even with all those riches available? So, yeah, it's a complete rebuild, isn't it? Eddie Howe's going to yeah, going to do well to sort of get something together in time for next season.
Yeah.
But yeah, very it's tough to sort of see how it's gone really because once they won the League Cup and qualified for the Champions League, they
Yeah.
look set, and then all of a sudden,
Mm.
they lose Isak for 125 million. He effectively goes on strike. You know, the new buy Wissa gets injured early on,
Yeah.
and it wasn't that great a season. It was very very shaky in the league.
Mm.
So yeah, they're gonna do well to get out of this one quickly, but. I think it might be another season or two of mid-table. Project 2030 for Newcastle, which was supposed to be the time that they were aiming to become the most successful club in Europe.
Mm.
It doesn't look like it's going to be hit. So yeah,
Well,
tough,
I
tough
think
stuff.
that's due to like PSR, which I'll come back to in a moment. But it's I think gone are the days when a rich owner could just come in and sort of spend money left, right, and centre and sort of buy trophies. PSR has put paid to that, and with good reason. But I think also they had to sell Gordon. They were not going to be in the Champions League in the season ahead, and that's altered the sort of state of their finances. So he's a very talented player. He will be missed. I mean, I've always enjoyed watching him play. I hope he does really well at Barca. It's like a dream for sort of any player to join Barcelona. It truly is. And they've lost Lewandowski. I think he has moved on after his contract has expired. So you mentioned Rashford. I suspect he might stay on because they do need firepower. But all in all, I mean, like Rashford, Gordon, and I think Rafinha is still there. I mean, he's played very well the last few seasons. Barca are looking pretty strong in attack. They've got a fabulous coach in Hansi Flick. So all good. And Newcastle, as you say, rightfully, a bit of a rebuild lies ahead for them. But if we wrap up the sort of mini end of season roundup there, we will, of course, keep an eye on these stories in the weeks ahead. There's no fantasy football until August, so you'll have to wait until then. But Mark, if I hand over to you for this week's obscure fact, and you've told me it's a corker, so I'm looking forward to hear this.
Oh, here we go. Right. Well, it's Champions League final today. Arsenal are playing PSG, but they're playing at the Ferenc Puskás Arena, named after Hungary's legendary player, Ferenc Puskás. Got the same name as the stadium and everything. And he had a quite an interesting career, um, especially towards the 80s and 90s. In the early 90s, he ended up managing at South Melbourne in Australia and had a very successful period there. Won a few trophies, but he wasn't too hot on the old English. But he could speak a little bit of Greek.
Sure.
So what do? You find the player there that can speak a little bit of Greek to act as your translator and chauffeur. Step forward, Ange Postecoglou. Ange
Wow.
Postecoglou was a player at South Melbourne, and he basically performed as Puskás's chauffeur, translator, unofficial minder for the period that they were at the club together. And it was Puskas's managerial style that had a bit of an influence on Postecoglou for Angeball. Uh, Puskás would insist on his wingers never retreating back over the halfway line. They always had to be in the other team's half, which made it a bit of a tough ask for the fullbacks because they were usually going 1v2. But if they got the ball and managed to get it forward to the winger's in the clear for some nice attacking, pacey wing play and overloads, which kind of got incorporated a little bit into Ange Ball. And yeah, they even went so far as to making a documentary covering the two's friendship, relationship during the South Melbourne days. And it's available to watch. It's a documentary called Ange and the Boss. So yeah, worth checking that one out.
Mark, that is a corker of a story, but you said he became his minder. I just thought straight away, like, the players and the press in like Australia at the time, did they call like out well, because like Puskás and Postecoglou, Arthur and Terry?
Well, I'm, I'm kind of hearing the theme tune now.
That's what played in my head
It
straight
was
away.
it was unofficial minder, so it's completely different to the other one.
Just like Terry.
But if they don't have a theme tune for that documentary, they do now.
Absolutely, absolutely. And gosh, that theme tune just brings back memories. It's such a brilliant show. I mean, even now, I mean, I still watch the odd episode here and there. Great show, but great story as well. I had no idea about that. It reminds me a bit of, Sir Bobby Robson when he was at Barca.
Yeah,
Jose kind of acted in a not too similar, well, capacity for him. He did everything for him, and I think Jose's love of English football, it stemmed from the way that he was treated by Sir Bobby, and he said it was like an education for me,
yeah.
learning from like such a great man. But certainly echoes of that, and Angie's a very successful manager also. There's no doubt about that. He's a
Surely
great
he'll be at
coach.
another club soon as well. I think, yeah,
Yeah.
there's certainly a documentary there for the Mourinho Bobby Robson connection. But it's a funny one
Yeah.
because Puskás, he was actually quite good on the language front. He could speak about five languages. It's just that
Mhm.
English wasn't one of them.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I think a few months ago, we also touched on him. We spoke about a curse. Like, was it the curse of Bela Gutmann? And Puskás apparently went to his grave and pleaded for him to lift the curse prior to cup final. But interesting. So that Puskás is back once more.
There you go.
Maybe there'll be another story on him in the future. But thanks, Mark. That was really, really good. I enjoyed that a lot. So great story, great story. So everyone, that's all we have time for this week. Until the next time, do keep the faith and like and subscribe to our channels on various forms of social media, and do get involved there if you are so inclined. We are back sometime next week with more TMTG goodness. Till the next time, until all are one.